Welcome everyone to BNZ Connect Online. I'm Glenn Senior from the Small Business Company, and I'm very lucky to have Romi Dexter from Hype Dexter. Hi, Romi.
Hi, Glenn.
Hey, we're really looking forward to listening to you this morning. Just a couple of quick things for people. There's a Q&A down the bottom. If you have any questions during the webinar, please ask. If we can't get to them all at once, then we will send a follow-up to answer those questions. There's a workbook download in the chat. So this workbook's excellent. Romi, I know you spend a lot of time on it. It's definitely something you should download and use from the information today. And also feedback, please, would be really appreciated at the end. Romi, so tell me about Hype Dexter. I like the name, by the way.
Thanks, yeah. It was a good add-on to the name. So first up, hey, Glenn, Tash and the rest of the BNZ team and everybody who's joined us today, thank you so much for having me on. So I'm Romi Dexter. I'm one of the founders and directors of Hype Dexter. Hype Dexter are a company who specialise in primarily HubSpot implementations, but really working with New Zealand and Australian businesses to implement digital tools to help them drive and gain leads and grow their business.
Brilliant. So what are you looking to share today?
So today I really wanted to have a chat to everybody about some of the digital tools that are out there, how you can use those to drive more leads, drive better leads, ultimately grow your customers and grow your business, and hopefully remove a little bit of admin and some of that other stuff that nobody likes to do off the back of it.
Okay. And does this apply to like all, is it just tech businesses or is it all businesses across?
Absolutely all businesses. I think, we're in modern times now. People expect personalized experiences and expect this information to be on hand. So this is something that any modern business should really be looking at and supporting.
Okay. All right. What do you want to do first? What do you want to cover?
Well, should we probably look at personalization first? So, I work a lot with these tools called CRMs. So CRMs are essentially like a big kind of data store of all of the information and all of the interactions that you have with your customers. Now, why that's important is because customers these days, they're pretty high maintenance. They expect a lot from us. They expect us to understand who they are, what they've been doing, what other interactions they've had with your organisation, and to anticipate their next needs and wants and to guide them to the right solutions. If you don't provide a personalised experience, we do find that, if your competitors are providing that extra level of service, you could turn off your prospects or your existing customers and lose them to other individuals.
Okay. So with this slide, I kind of get the, people stop doing business, one bad experience, and so I'm really interested though in the last one, with consumers that are likely to purchase if you can personalize the experience. And so the example I was going to ask you, so I went for a coffee the other day and, it's the same coffee that I get. And so how do you actually personalize something as simple as a coffee every single time when I get the same thing?
Well, I think, coffee is an interesting thing, and because, we're constantly going in and dealing with the same person. So that knowledge is built up because, frankly, I like a flat white. I like it to be a 6-ounce double and with coconut milk, and that's my preference. Any cafe or coffee shop that I go into, they know my preference, and those people know that, and will be making that before I even get up and place my order. People, expect that though from our digital experiences, and actually it's harder to do that in a coffee shop because they are just having to work off individuals' knowledge, and if you get a new barista or person serving, then that knowledge isn't necessarily, passed on in an easy way. So from a digital perspective, though, we need to be understanding and capturing who that person is, capturing what they've been doing on the website, what emails they've been opening, previous conversations, so we can then personalize that experience and give them that coffee that they're asking for. Funnily enough, even with our clients and our CRM, coffee is one of the main things that we capture. So when we find out what somebody's preference is, we capture that. So if they come in and have a meeting with us, the right coffee is there waiting for them when we start our meeting.
Okay. Now, I suppose the ultimate example is Amazon or Trade Me, where you buy one thing and then you get obviously recommended to buy everything else that might be vaguely similar. Is that a good example?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a couple of years ago, we started working with a large shoe retailer. And for them, originally we used to just send out emails, which was like, hey, buy these shoes. Here's all of our lovely new season shoes. But, if I prefer black heel boots, I'm probably not going to be into the shiny floral flats. So we kind of found that, sometimes it would be a real blend of who was actually buying and getting and clicking through and actually purchasing off the back of these emails, and also too, a reasonable level of unsubscribe off the back of that as well. By focusing on what people were actually purchasing, actually clicking through and viewing, actually searching for, we were able to really focus down and give people, hey, the latest awesome black shoes, put a couple of shiny ones in there as well, just in case, but make a lot of the offers and the sales more specific to them, especially critical when you've got a really large product base, especially like the Amazons, but even most retailers, they'll have a few hundred products that they need to actually offer. Making sure that it's the right product at the right time is really key to getting that sale and reducing the noise for individuals as well.
Okay. So what happens when you have thousands of customers and you're trying to personalize to each of them, and they're not necessarily all hot prospects or ready to buy? What's your advice?
Yeah, so again, this is where platforms really are so critical. If you tried to go through and tag up and figure out every single one of those 1,000 customers, well, you're just never going to do it, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. Most modern CRMs and platforms out there, they'll have like a simple little bit of script which can sit inside of your website that reviews any marketing emails that you're going out, and where you can log any interactions that you have from a human perspective with people. You can use that data. So, hey, they viewed this particular page, which has got this, which is black boots. Well, we're going to take that now and say that this person likes black boots. So therefore, we're going to make the top product that we recommend black boots. And so it sounds kind of complex and a little bit magical, but actually with a lot of the modern tools, 10 years ago when I was doing this sort of stuff, it would have cost us hundreds of thousands and, many, many man hours. These days, that type of personalization can be set up in hours and with some really, really cost-effective tools that are out there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So another kind of thing that we're a bit guilty of when we're talking to our customers, our prospects primarily, is really looking at active buyers. So it's been, traditional marketing is very much in that space of like, hey, you're ready to buy this thing. So buy these shoes now. But there's actually, like, again, our customers now with the internet and information being so prevalent are a lot more informed. So they will research and they will interact with brands or different various sites and bits of information up to 15 times before they make a purchase, or more if it's a large, more significant purchase.
Yep.
So if we're only engaging at that point when they want to buy, we have not had the opportunity to build up brand equity, build up trust, and we're really now just competing on price. So, and we're also leaving 90% of prospects and opportunities just to rest out there. So, sorry.
I was going to say, so I know a lot of people I know, and probably myself, I've been totally honest, kind of are furiously doing the 3% at the top.
Yeah.
And trying to find more of those 3%. So you're suggesting that we should be thinking about the whole bucket and have different tactics for each of those levels?
Absolutely. And also too, that top 3% is really expensive. Like if you're looking at that from a digital perspective or even traditional marketing perspective, you're paying Google, you're paying Facebook, you're paying these guys just for a click, and some of these clicks are dollars, and then there's no guarantee that people are going to convert off the back of that. In fact, the fact they've just seen something clicked on it, it's more likely that they're not going to. Where if they've had some experience, you've built up your brand, you've built up that trust, the likelihood that they are going to purchase from you when they get to that point is a lot higher. So we're kind of,
I've got a question here. Somebody's asked, do you have an example that you could give of the difference between those bottom or those three larger slices?
Yeah, sure. So we deal with Rug Doctor a lot. So wonderful company. They do the awesome cleaning products and the cleaners that you can hire. With Rug Doctor, they have recently brought out a bunch of kind of new products, over the last couple of years for stain removal and cleaning itself, as well as the machines. But they were really focused, I guess, up in that top bit. Like I've had a party, there's a terrible stain, I need to get it cleaned kind of thing. It's Christmas time, so, around Christmas, rug doctors just, you can't get a booking kind of thing. So you need to book really early. But, we really wanted to kind of focus on, one, getting the rest of those products off the shelves because they're excellent products, but also to getting people more into that focus of cleaning maintenance and doing things at different times of the year, not just those kind of peak points when I've actually had a problem and got a terrible stain right now. So, we did a lot of research and working with them and connected with people, but did things like a 12 Stains of Summer campaign, where we just kind of went out there highlighting stains that we knew people would probably have regularly and around. So, not that you've specifically got the stain right now, but it's something that you're probably going to be having over the next 3 months. Another one was a kind of cleaning guide, so you can kind of sign up and get your house to a beautiful state, ready for a big event like spring clean or getting things up and running for Christmas. So we were able to go out with those guides a lot earlier. It wasn't like, hey, hire this machine or buy this product right now. It's like, hey, this is how you can get your house prepared and ready. Over that period, we were able to, once people engaged and actually signed up within our social networks or within email, they were able to then, we were able to connect with them via email or social posts, which is a lot cheaper than paying Google to get them in there, and connect with them to take them along that journey to kind of go, hey, now you should be doing this. Now you should be maybe cleaning your bathroom. Maybe now you should be actually cleaning your curtains and your carpets. And now we can actually push the product to some of those other kind of systems. But by that time, we've added so much value. It's just a natural step in the customer journey for that person to actually go, oh yeah, cool. Actually, that I'm going to do that. I'm going to hire this tool. I'm going to buy this product right now.
Okay. So it was a process of working out what those triggers might be and then creating content or guides or talking about things people could be doing in social media like all year. Is that kind of...
Absolutely. And again, talking more about those underlying kind of needs that people have, like it's there and it's there in everyone, and we knew that like the majority of the target market would have those needs or those goals, but that they hadn't necessarily gotten to the point that they'd had a trigger that they would actually go and need to buy or be an active buyer right now.
Okay, so I guess the lesson is to make sure you've got something in each of those boxes, there's some type of campaign or some type of marketing activity.
Absolutely. And also too, making sure that you don't just get focused in one particular area, because I have seen, a few different companies go in and do this thing is called an inbound campaign, but where we're adding value at every step of the customer buyer journey. But sometimes customers, businesses can get a bit focused at the bottom and forget also too that sometimes there are some people who just want to come in and buy. So make sure that you make that as frictionless as possible. Make sure that that is the simplest, easiest thing for me to buy, for me to buy more, and for me to refer you as a wonderful business because I'm now an advocate of yours.
Sure. Okay. So tell me more about that customer journey.
Yeah. So if we're kind of looking at this, and this is, I spoke a little bit before about the tool HubSpot that we use. So this is a HubSpot customer journey that kind of says that customers go through these key stages, being awareness, consideration, and decision. So when they're at that awareness stage, they really just, they've got an opportunity or goal, but they haven't even really named it. Like they don't know exactly what this thing is. So it might be, that I am going to be running my first marathon. So I'm going to get out there and I want to run my first marathon.
You're brave.
But I'm kind of going out there and researching. So maybe somebody connects with me and they give me a really cool training guide to help me get there because I'm very unfit. Now next, so now I'm kind of into that funnel. Now I'm kind of starting to maybe run a little bit, but my feet are getting a bit sore. And then maybe they connect with me and go, hey, have you got the right footwear? Do the survey. So maybe I do a survey and figure out actually I've got high arches and that's possibly causing me pain, and there's actually specialist kind of footwear that I need to help me in my goal of running this marathon. At this point, maybe I'm given an offer of like, here's some fantastic shoes that will actually support that. Cool. Okay. Now I've actually got absolute trust in you. You've helped me reach, or hopefully reach, my future goal of running this marathon and improve my overall life and kind of well-being. I am very unlikely to go and now shop or buy off somebody else. You could also be promoting some of the other trust aspects of like a 30-day return or free delivery or whatever those other aspects are. So I'm less likely to go off and try and buy for somebody else. I'm more likely to probably come in store and get properly fitted because you have built up that experience with me and I now have trust with you. And there's now that brand equity that's been built. Also too, now once I do purchase, I'm far more likely to come back because you're probably going to hit me in another 9 months and go, hey, your shoes are probably worn out now. Maybe you need some new ones. And hey, if you really liked your shoes, could you recommend us to some other people?
So how does the message change? So on the bottom, you've got, email and consideration and decision and repeat. So how would that message change? Well, I assume you change the message as people move into each of these different categories.
Totally. So it's anticipating again what is the next best step. So if it was something like shoes, it's going to be, hey, there's a certain life time of shoes where people will want to replace them because they actually wear out. Probably most consumers are going to be unaware that at this point I actually need to replace it. If it's something like hairdressing, there's a point where my color is going to fade or there's going to be other, issues with my hair. So it's about anticipating the next best step to ensuring that people are coming back into funnel. It's an interesting thing. I worked for Grab One a few years ago, and we really worked on the personalization because we had thousands of products and different services, and we really looked at going, hey, if you've just bought a haircut, you probably don't want a haircut recommended again, but in 2 months you do. We also used to,
Oh, sorry. Somebody's asked a question: what budget do you allocate to each of these areas? So, for example, do you put 50% of your effort and budget into awareness, or is it 50% into decision? Do you have a bit of a guide?
Truthfully, to start with, I would go across the board, probably even, and then see if a particular area is working better for you than others. Typically, the middle, though, like the kind of consideration phase, is where hopefully you're spending more of your own earned kind of marketing. So that's where maybe you're using your social channels and your email, and even maybe humans to kind of do outreach there because they're already within your funnel and you're already kind of having those discussions. It's probably easier to get people at the awareness and decision than specifically in that consideration phase. But every business is a little bit different, and that's the beauty with digital, is that you can just really test this. You can try and put money into each of those buckets and see. The one thing I would say most businesses are guilty of is not putting anything into the repeat, where the strongest, highest quality leads and actually the most cost effective leads is referrals. So if you can be turning your customers into your advocates, that is going to be your most effective channel.
Got a question here. Somebody's asked, their customers are quite competitive, so they find it hard to get one customer to refer to another customer because it's a B2B business.
Yeah.
How would what's the track there?
So case studies are your friend here. Make your they might not want to refer, but tune into what makes them excited. So I tend to find in those spaces where you've got a competitive business set, that they, being the star, being the influencer, being the important person is actually really critical to them. So utilize events maybe that you're putting on, utilize case studies, make them the star, talking about how wonderful kind of they are, their business are, what they've managed to achieve. And that's a really good way to get that advocacy without a straight, pure referral.
Okay. So the second part of that question was around, they used to go to conferences overseas and get clients, and now they can't. And they've tried virtual conferences, and they are not quite the same. So the people just don't engage the same as in the physical conference. What's your advice for people that have kind of lost that source of lead?
I am seeing a lot of people getting benefits out of quality webinars, like this sort of thing. You just need to ensure that you have the right mechanisms for people getting in there and for following up on those leads afterwards. But definitely I've seen some, especially businesses out of Australia, doing some brilliant work in growth with virtual. And in fact, they have actually increased their leads and new customers through a detailed kind of very focused webinars, which are focused on very specific topics that they know are important to niche areas of their prospects. That has actually been significantly cheaper and provided significantly higher results than their in-person physical events that they did previously. There's still been, you know, there's probably a little bit of apathy that's saying to build in with some of these things, but I think, you know, as we can get back in person, that's a good thing to include with your virtual events. But what I normally see with events, whether they're live or whether they're virtual, is that people don't do the follow-up well. You know, you've got all of these amazing leads. So ensuring your entire strategy you should spend probably 70% of your entire strategy for an event on what you're doing with those follow-up leads, where most of the time people are spending probably 80-90% just on the event itself. But the reason you're doing that event is to get your leads. So you need to make sure that you're treating that follow-up with a great deal of respect and focus.
Okay. So I guess to connect them, you could run the webinar with a customer to cross off the referral.
Absolutely.
And
yes,
then
absolutely.
have a blog or a piece of social media content or maybe a guide people can download. So you connect everything together. Is that the idea?
Yeah, absolutely. So those content offers, and I said before, inbound campaign and that adding value. There was a comment made by CEO of founder of HubSpot, which is when you're giving away an offer, so like the workbook that we're offering today, or you know, it may be a business case, it may be an ebook, or you know, all different types of things that you can be giving away. It should feel uncomfortable. It should feel like you're actually giving away a bit too much IP. If you've got that slight level of uncomfort, then you know you've nailed your offer, because that's something that's going to be truly valuable for people, and they're far more likely now to sign up and to actually start that engagement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just another thing as well is making sure it's not just that first engagement. We did a piece of work with Auckland Chamber a couple of years ago where we went out, we offered a business case template, which we knew a lot of people were searching for and wanted. Then we put them into an email nurture series and a remarketing series where every week or 2 weeks we sent an email with an additional thing that you could download, like a profit and loss statement, and with the guidance and videos on how you could actually utilize that so you could complete your overall business plan, and then connecting in with other services from the chamber, such as business mentors and other events and membership and that type of thing. So also too, it shouldn't just be a one trick, hey, we gave you that thing, that's it. There should be a structured, strategic kind of follow on using both your digital outreach as well as human outreach where possible.
Okay, no, that sounds good.
Cool. So if we have a little look at what this looks like from a marketing and sales perspective. So from, you know, we work with a lot of businesses and marketing's over here and sales are over here, and they never really kind of come together. Really successful modern businesses are like this with their sales and marketing. It's not just one or the other. It is a symbiotic relationship where they work together and feedback to each other to really kind of drive new leads and new customers and growth. So if we kind of look at this in a bit of a real life example, you know, there's typically 3 players: your potential perfect customer, your platform, which is going to do a lot of that kind of hard work and stuff that the robot should do, and then some kind of internal rep or salesperson who closes those deals and gets people across the line.
I like the Wall-E image. We all need a Wall-E, don't we?
Yeah. So, you know, if we're looking at these journeys, generally, you know, from a marketing perspective, we're out there, we're promoting. So however that may be, whether it's physical out there in events or whether it's digital out there on Google, Facebook, to draw people in. And again, we'd generally be drawing them in with something that they really need. Once they're kind of in there and they've converted with us, then our platforms kind of take over to start to automate those communications and get them to the next level. Now, a lot of businesses will jump out at this particular point. It's like, oh, new lead, quick, let's talk to them and harass them and get them to buy. If I'm not ready, so, you know, we're talking before with the pyramid, it's like most customers they don't even know really what their goal is right now. So if you're reaching out trying to sell them your product, they don't even really understand and connect the why. So you could scare them off, and you might lose them at that point. Also, too, a lot of work for your humans to be going out there and working these different opportunities. So instead, your platform should be, nurturing and talking to these people and moving them along. At some point, though, they will become a hot prospect. So they'll have done something, or they'll just be so engaged that it really indicates that, hey, they're ready to be spoken to right now. At that point, your platform should be telling you, Sally, hey, have a chat to Derek right now. He's pretty good. Now, often, we give somebody a call, or we send them an email, and they don't always respond. So there should also be systems and platforms. Like a good platform will help you just automate all of those follow-ups and make sure that you don't forget about people. It'll also, sometimes our customers, they'll be all engaged and they'll be talking to us, and then they'll just kind of go silent and stop replying to any of our emails. And, some people get offended at that, but in the end, it's like people are just busy, and they just, or something's happened, they just kind of can't get to it right now, and so they just stop the conversations. That's fine, let that kind of go. But if that person starts to engage again, they start to open your emails, they start to visit your website, they open that quote that you sent them, well, you want to know about that, and you want to then grab that kind of lead and reach out and hopefully create not a stalker moment, because, it can be very easy to come across as a bit stalkerish when you've got so much information about people, but make it serendipitous. I'm reaching out because, it's been a while since we've spoken. Are you ready to move forward? Yeah, actually, I am ready to move forward. You're the first person who actually got back to me at the perfect time. Let's do a deal and let's have a great experience. So again, this sort of stuff years ago was incredibly hard to do and really, really expensive. These days, we can, set up a CRM and actually be doing all of this within hours or days.
Okay. So is that where you track things like analytics, and through HubSpot you can find out who's at your website, or how else do people know when these potential customers are sort of tracking along this journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, most tools, so most modern CRM tools, so if you search for CRM, you'll get thousands. I use HubSpot. I really love HubSpot because of the simplicity. So it's just got a little bit of script that, your web developer can very easily pop into your website. It takes minutes to do. It's got little plugins for Google, so Gmail or Outlook, so it automatically tracks your emails. So everything's kind of just done automatically, and any good modern system will just do that stuff automatically and very, very easily at a very low cost to kind of get in there and start doing it. And that's the kind of critical thing really when we're looking at some of these systems and looking at digital transformation. It can seem quite overwhelming, this kind of thing. It seems, if you haven't done any of this, it can feel like it's quite far away. If you can just take the first step of starting to collect the data and get familiar with the tools, then it's going to make you creating these journeys and starting to understand your customers so much easier in the future.
I've got another question. They're a micro business, so like one full-time person on their own. What do you advise them to do? Because they'll be well, I'm assuming, they're juggling the business, they're doing everything at once. And so what's the advice for them?
Get your tools on as fast as possible. Stop using spreadsheets, because that's what you'll be using right now, almost guaranteed. The thing is as a micro business, depending on whether that's what your future strategy is, but in some ways, you're incredibly busy, but it's a lot easier to be managing your processes and consistency and quality, because it's all you and it's all in your head. If you need to scale and if you need to expand, that's when you're going to start to really run into a lot of challenges, especially if you're kind of hiring right after the curve, as you do tend to when you're starting up. So I think getting these systems in place as early as possible is really going to help you and help you to be able to expand and grow your business as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so to summarize, here we go. That was a good segue.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, as I said before, really a lot of these things can seem quite far out, quite far in the future. Your first step really is just to start to understand where you're going as a business, start to understand what you want to operate in and how you want to automate some of your different systems. But really, if I can say one thing, just try and get away from your spreadsheets, try and get into a modern CRM. There are some great options out there. HubSpot, as I've mentioned a few times, is completely free if you just want to start out. It will give you your sales, your service, your marketing, and just makes everything so much easier because it's in one central place. Even if you move to a different technology in the future, at least you're capturing that data now, starting to get used to operating in this way and starting to share that information and personalize your experience.
So have you got any sort of final pieces of advice that you would give people that are listening to transform?
Yeah, so just remember, even though a lot of things have worked in the past, and paper's worked a lot, our world is getting more complicated. There's more legislation, there's more rules we have to kind of adhere to. Consumers, customers are expecting more. So even if it's always worked, don't think it's always going to work in the future, and don't think that there's not a lot of other people out there doing this type of stuff, because they are, and there's a lot of up and comers who are just doing this as part and parcel of how they operate their business. So take the first step. It's actually not that scary or hard, and and set up your business for future success. So
choose one thing, do something, choose the next. Don't try and do everything at once is the message.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
Hey, Romi, look, I really appreciate your time. It's been great talking to you. I think there's some great takeaways for businesses, and I really like not the Wally, the chatbot, but I like the process and that triangle where I know I'm going to look at what can I do into each of those buckets to bring people towards that sort of decision making. People can get hold of you if they need some advice or further information. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening now, if you go to Hype Dexter, we've got a live chat on there. So with our team there, if you do have any specific questions that weren't answered today, or otherwise, follow us on any of our social networks and things. But if you've got any questions, we'd love to have a chat. Okay, great. Thanks everyone for joining. We really appreciate all your time, and please hit the feedback form for us. It'll be wonderful. And there's future webinars coming up. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a good morning.
Ben, bye.
Thanks, Romi.